Okay. Just in time, Miro at the beefy host. You're just in time for the discussion of the day. Woo! All right, welcome everybody. We are going to be talking about the different levels of mashing because this is something that gets miscommunicated across the very many different levels of gameplay that exist. Because I think this gets lost. This really gets lost in translation depending on what parties are talking to each other. When high level people talk about mashing amongst other high level players versus when the average, stream monsters calling someone out for mashing versus when, two friends pick up a fighting game for the first time and are mashing, right? We're all using the same words, but we all mean very different things. So I'm going to set up an example that talks about what competitive players are referring to when they say someone is mashing. Wait, what was my example? I didn't write this down. Do you guys remember what I was going to use to show this example? This is why you take notes before you go live. So what I have set up here is I have the dummy as G and I have a couple of common strings set up. What you see here is a pretty average string from G. It starts off with standing light punch, goes into a medium punch, crouching strong, into the combo conversion. This is a very common string because it is extremely airtight. What do I mean by that? Normally they wouldn't cancel into the ending special move, but if I block the string, there's not much I can do to escape it once it begins, right? So once I block this jab, if I try to mash out of it, it ain't gonna work. I can't press any individual button, no matter which one I go to. The string is just too tight. Once I block the standing jab, the medium punch connects. So let's show another string. Show another string here. Okay, this time he did jab into throw. You might be thinking, okay, what if I just want to mash out of that one, right? No, same idea. If I press my fastest buttons here, it doesn't work. If I press any button on the stick, it doesn't matter. Okay, well that was fucking weird. The point is, I can't mash my way out of it. The game will not allow me because the jab leaves G at advantage and he can stuff any of my moves with throw. Now, obviously, I have some options like a super or an invincible reversal, like an EXTP, but let's assume for now I don't have those at my disposal. With that said, it looks like mashing is helpless. It looks like there's no reason for you to ever mash, right? Why would I ever mash? I might as well just sit here forever and take all the pressure from G. Once he makes me block, it's over, right? There's nothing I can do. That's where you're wrong. Just because mashing doesn't work sometimes doesn't mean it won't always work. And this is the type of mashing we're referring to when competitive players are discussing this kind of technique. We're talking about mashing a specific button to interrupt pressure. Because if you just keel over and die in the corner, you're gonna get command grabbed forever. You're gonna get scooped, you're gonna get tossed around. Eventually, you gotta mash. Whether it's jab, G is kind of messed up, so jab might whiff. Or medium, or something. You gotta press the button. G forces you to mash in situations, or else you're just gonna get command grabbed over and over. This is the type of mashing, the level 1 of mashing, that a lot of people talk about. They talk about challenging people's pressure and strings with buttons on defense even when they're negative. That's the level 1 of mashing. You might hear a high level player get annoyed with someone else saying, oh, they're just mashing because they're not respecting their fake strings, right? They're trying to prevent people from getting extra turns by always interrupting whenever there's a potential gap. Now, obviously, there is a downside to that. If the opponent just does the airtight string, you can get hit. So for example, if I go back to the first string, in this situation, if I mash, I get counter hit into a combo, right? Same 2 string buttons at the beginning of the string. Jab to medium. I can't mash there, I'm gonna get hit. But in this situation, if I don't mash, I get punished. I get command grabbed. But if I do mash, I get potentially rewarded with damage, getting out of the corner, my own offense to go. So that's the first level of mashing there, is mashing on defense to interrupt strings, which you have to do in this game. You have to do. Here is the other level of mashing, level 2. So G has a couple of options here after landing this throw, right? So on this option, I have him doing meaty stand fierce. And you see there, it interrupts my button. Or he can do throw, dash up throw, which I can throw tech. The next level of mashing is the mashing done on wake up, and it has to do with the timing of the buttons you're choosing to wake up with. A very common response to this situation when you're knocked down to the corner is to delay your tech. If you delay your tech on wake up, people don't really consider it mashing. If I do a delay tech here, I'll block that fierce punch. I still inputted the delay tech. I inputted delay tech. You can see the buttons, the light kick and the light punch at the end there, but I'm not getting crush countered because I'm delaying the tech so much that the button is happening after my throw happens. If he does this dash up throw, I delay my tech. I'm able to catch the late throw. It covers both options, right? But then that loses here to this option. Dash up delay button. My delay tech gets blown the hell up by the dash up frame trap. Because if I try to react to that dash and actually see it, I'm not going to get the throw second time. And I'm going to be counter hit out of my pressure. Now, what can I do to counter those last two options? The meaty is safe, but it gives no reward. There's no mix up. Delay tech beats it. But I have these two options, these two delay options, right? Mashing. Mashing beats these options. Mashing your fast buttons on wake up to interrupt fake pressure, which is used to usually bait throws or throw off your timing, is another common thing people call mashing. It might seem scrubby in a lot of instances to just press buttons on wake up and hope for the best, but it's an extremely valid and necessary defensive option you have to use in Street Fighter V. Both of these options either are neutral with the delay tech or they destroy you for delay tech. Either I tech the throw here or I'll get counter hit and die. Counter hit and die. The option that beats both is the next level mashing. Mashing on wake up. You got to use it. And once again, I think the tone kind of influences how people feel about it. It's seen as very scrubby, but at the right time, it's the smartest thing you could possibly do, depending on the offensive option that the opponent is going for. So that's what usually higher level people are talking about when they say my opponent is mashing. They're taking a lot of risk on defense, but they're very valid risks and have very good rewards, and there's a reason to do them. If you go for these kind of delay options to bait like delay tags and other sorts of defensive options, mashing will work. Mashing will beat your stagger strings. Mashing will beat your delay frame traps on wake up. There's definitely legitimate times to go for these types of mashing, but there's also another level to mashing. Mashing reversals. This is the third level of mashing. Mashing that DP on wake up. Mashing that super. I mean, this is where I think the common fighting game player is familiar with mashing. When people get knocked down or they're just in a block string and they're just mashing away hoping to get the reversal to come out. Or when someone's doing an extremely long combo on you. You got G here doing this whole combo and then you're just trying to mash out of it. That's super common. You shouldn't have left that gap there, right? Strings going on. The moment I start blocking something, I'm mashing that super. I am definitely mashing. That's enabled by the buffer input in the game. If I have an invincible reversal and I want it to come out the moment there's a gap, I am going to mash it. I commit to mashing. It's not just random Ken players online who do this. There's always a reason for a high level player to mash. Does it get them killed sometimes? Yeah, definitely. But there's many situations where it's the best move to do. If you know for sure they're going for a string with a gap, throw out that DP. If your super's about to chip and you know there's no option, throw out that super, mash it out. It's smart in the right context. And I think that covers like the most common elements of mashing that I think most players go to, but there's more. There's more mashing. And I don't think there's any other better example or way to communicate what that level of mashing is than this classic video. So let's take a look at this. I want to show you guys this. This is the mashing that people know and love when they talk about fighting games. This is what the common man who knows anything about gaming knows mashing to be. Classic video from Giuna, Anime Illuminati. That footage in there was real footage. I gotta be honest, I don't know who these guys are, but yes, they are playing the game for fun, and it's pretty lighthearted, and Mike Ross is supposed to coach this guy, Kamofin is supposed to coach this guy, and they're trying to see who's gonna win. And of course, all the advice goes out the window because there's no thinking involved once the game begins. They're mashing, having no coordination or control or mind to hand connection with what is going on. If they did something in the game, they would have no chance to be able to replicate it because they're just inputting random inputs and hoping for the best, right? That's like the highest level of mashing. No control of the situation, no idea how to control the situation. Can't coach that. There's no way to improve that. And there's a reason why that exists. And Corey Gaming had a fantastic video going into why button mashing doesn't work. I mean, that has like 1 million views on YouTube, but I just want to take one point of it from his video and give an example. I found JM Crofts did this challenge. He went through Street Fighter 4 story mode using only Geef Lariat. And if you don't know, Geef Lariat comes out when you mash all punches or all kicks in Street Fighter 4. So you're pretty much going to get this move if you pick up Street Fighter 4 Geef and start mashing. This is the move you will get. This is an extreme example of a game rewarding you heavily at the low level for mashing. This move is hard to punish. He's playing against the computer right now and just like bodying them. But you put a Geef matching Lariat in front of another real beginner, the Geef player will win every single time. 9 times out of 10, the Geef player who is simply mashing will win. Even if the opponent they're facing understands like a little bit of footsies, knows how to anti-air, you know, they might know a combo, they might know how to do a throw. They know more about the game than the Geef player, but it doesn't matter because mashing this move is enough to stomp out any of those options that those 2 low-level players can do. They're rewarded for mashing. There's an incentive to do it in a fighting game, which you don't see in other games. It works to an extent. It's not very satisfying. You're not thinking. Even if you win, it might eventually be boring because there's no thinking involved in it, but you can stomp opponents by doing stuff like this. Opponents who don't know how to play the game, but they're winning nonetheless. This is the highest level of mashing. This is what people are referring to when they say mashing. But you can see that this is a bit different than using your buttons and special moves to interrupt strings, right? It's a bit different than the examples I showed before where there's technical reasons and rewards. You know, it's not like when Street Fighter 5 players are waking up with a jab that they're this kid mashing his heart out against Daigo. So next time you see your favorite player streaming, calling out their opponent for mashing, they're not saying that their opponent is doing this. They're definitely not having as much fun as this kid. There's a bit more thought and nuance to mashing, and there's a time and a place for it. Or maybe the Street Fighter 5 players need to mash harder. We'd all probably be a little bit more happy if we mashed like him. Oh damn, I've never seen this part. He gets out of his seat? I actually didn't see this part. Damn, Daigo shutting down his hopes and dreams. They force him to give the handshake. What? Let's do a replay of this. The kid gets so hyped with mashing that he actually gets out of his seat. He gets out of his seat to continue mashing. I mean, it's doing work. He got a command grab on Daigo. More than many people could say. Pretty close match. And then Daigo anti-air ultras reflexively. No thought involved, and he's mashing the entire time during the ultra. The entire time he does not stop mashing. The host had to force the kid to shake Daigo's hand. He's grabbing his arm and then putting it towards Daigo. That kid's like, I don't want any of that. That's Daigo scrubs mashing. Give me that. Give me that toy. Give me that controller. I take back what I said. We should all be a little bit more like this kid. I take it back.